Welcome everybody to update number 63. So it's been about 4 weeks since we did the last one, and yeah, I got a whole host of films since then that have been bought. So we've got standard Blu-rays, we've got a couple of 4Ks released from earlier this year. I picked up a couple of cheap Steelbook 4Ks. Got a bunch of films from eBay, from America mainly, and 88 films and the Criterion Collection because they also had a sale on recently. So yeah, let's dive into the some more standard Blu-rays first. We've got a horror film from last year, and it is Cobweb. I found this to be fairly decent, but by no means my favourite horror film of last year, but it was still a solid enough time, and yeah, had some elements that were worthy of enjoying. So yeah, fairly decent, but standard Blu-ray, so not really much to talk about. Does have a couple of special features on it, becoming the girl, through the eyes of a child, and a primal fear. So a couple of featurettes on there, and then we also have from Film Cut, who I have bought plenty from before, and this is an early '90s classic, Death Becomes Her. Great free lead cast, really innovative special effects for the time, and yeah, it's overall really rather quite funny. So yeah, Film Cut does plenty of these more basic Blu-rays, but or at least basic Blu-rays of films that I don't have and that aren't readily available from elsewhere. They also did The Vampire Lovers from 1970, so this is a Hammer horror film. Stars Ingrid Pitt, Peter Cushing, and yeah, a really rather solid vampire film to be honest. Has quite graphic decapitations in a couple of moments, and yeah, it's a lot more sexually charged than their previous vampire efforts, starring the likes of Christopher Lee. Right now we have a couple of 4Ks released from earlier this year, one of which was all the way from America, so it's a little bit on the expensive side. I think it was nearly £40, but it is a film that I really rather enjoy, and it is Leviathan. So yeah, a lot of films came out in 1989 to capitalize on the presumed success of The Abyss by James Cameron. But most people only knew a couple of things about it. One, it was going to be underwater, and they presumed it was going to be a horror film, given that's what James Cameron was known for in some regards, with the likes of Terminator being somewhat horror and Aliens being horror as well. So, yeah, obviously, The Abyss wasn't anything like that. The aliens in that were friendly at the end of the day. It was the humans that were the bad people. But yeah, still, this is the best of the knockoffs from the time. There was another one called Deep Star 6 and The Rift, and probably missing another one, but yeah, there were at least three or four. So yeah, but like I said, this is the best of the bunch. It's got really good practical effects to it, and yeah, it is essentially a knockoff of not only the idea behind the Abyss, but about people working underwater. But you know, you've got the likes of The Thing and Alien in here as well. But the 4K looks great, and yeah, I really like the cast. You've got the likes of Peter Weller, Richard Crenna, and Ernie Hudson. So good cast, and yeah, it's a pretty fun time. Doesn't outstay its welcome or anything like that. Then we have a 4K release from in here in the UK, and it is Primal Fear, starring Richard Gere. No, I didn't intend that to rhyme. Um, but yeah, this is a pretty good courtroom drama. Also got Edward Norton in it as well. I've not seen it for a while, and I've not yet seen this on this 4K disc, so I can't quite tell you what it's like, but I'm sure it'll be pretty good. So yeah, and usually they are from. Is this? Yeah, it's a Paramount release by the looks of things. Don't know why I got it into my head that it might have been a Studio Canal one there. And then we also have some films from eBay. So these are all American releases. Now, whether or not any of these actually get released over here in the UK, I don't know. Especially since a couple of them are part of the Warner Brothers Archive collection, which is obviously still a series that is coming out in the UK month after month. But I really wanted to just get the couple that are in that. But firstly, we have a couple of releases from Film Masters, which is a new boutique label that only I think started last year, and yeah, I've been dying to get my hands on. So yeah, we have a couple of releases that have two films apiece, and that's because they're basically somewhat related. So yeah, we have first The Devil's Partner and Creature from the Haunted Sea. So yeah, These were both released by the Film Group, I believe, which is a was a company that was set up by Roger Corman and his brother Gene to distribute their own films. And occasionally they picked up projects by other filmmakers such as The Devil's Partner. But then they also did, but then Corman did Creature from the Haunted Sea, and yeah, they've both had restorations. So yeah, new 4K restoration from the original 35mm archival elements for the Devil's Partner, and then Creature from the Haunted Sea has a bonus. Is a bonus HD print. Um, I've only ever been able to find Creature from the Haunted Sea in a rather poor quality transfer, so yeah, to get it on Blu-ray where it actually looks decent enough to actually be able to enjoy was a real treat. They're not great films by any means, although I'd say Creature from the Haunted Sea is the better of the two, just because it's more successful at what it's trying to do, whereas The Devil's Partner, that does not happen, and it's not quite as successful as trying to be a horror film. So yeah, which is a bit of a shame. So yeah, we also have a booklet as well, which has The Devil's Partner by Mark McGee, and then we have some posters inside. Again, that does not happen in The Devil's Partner whatsoever. And then we also have Creature from the Haunted Sea by Tom Weaver. And yeah, that's basically it, I believe. I'd say that doesn't really happen in Creature from Haunted Sea either, to be honest, especially given the look of the monster itself, which is not particularly great, but still, it's a decent enough film. And then we also have from Film Masters another pair of films, Beast from Haunted Cave and Ski Troop Attack. So yeah, Beast from Haunted Cave was filmed first, and since Roger Corman loves to make the most out of his cast, his crew, his budget, and his locations, he immediately shot Ski Troop Attack on the same location, which is in this like I think it's South Dakota backdrop and whatnot. Yeah, South Dakota location. And then basically just came up with a World War II film on the back of that. So, yeah, Ski Troop Attack is easily the weakest of the two. Beast from Haunted Cave is actually fairly solid as far as creature features from the 50s in terms of being low budget, and yeah, looks pretty good in terms of the transfer that it's had as well. Newly restored 4K scan from 35mm archival prints, and again a bonus HD print of the Ski Troop Attack. So yeah, these are pretty good releases from Film Masters. Not sure if they've released anything else yet, but still pretty good. And then we've got Bantering with a Beast in this booklet. Chris Robinson on building and being the haunted cave creature as told to Tom Weaver. So that's a small interview there. And then we've got Corman Goes to War by C. Courtney Joyner. So yeah, Ski Troop Attack isn't awful or anything. It's perfectly watchable, but it certainly has its limitations due to its budget, especially when it comes to the climax, which is built up over the course of 70 minutes, and then yeah, it's pretty underwhelming, quite frankly. So yeah, which is a bit of a shame. And then from Severin, who are actually releasing over here in the UK now, but obviously they've got to get any of their back catalogue, approved for over here in terms of licensing and whatnot. So yeah, I've decided to dive into something else of theirs before that's the case, and it is 1977's Journey to the Center of the Earth. So this isn't as good as the 50s version. I think that was directed by Henry Levin and had James Mason in it, I seem to recall. But yeah, it's a really rather fun film despite being quite messy. Everything that on this poster actually happens, unlike with The Devil's Partner. So yes, we do get a practical, small miniature version of a giant ape. We get massive, reptilian dinosaurs and whatnot attacking each other. Giant mushrooms, giant tortoises. Lots of stuff happening on a raft, which is so poorly built, it's half the time sinking. So yeah, it's a really rather fun effort. It's just not a particularly great one. So if you're after a so bad it's good kind of film, this is sort of up that route. It's not particularly laugh out loud funny unintentionally, but it's really really enjoyable in terms of its special effects and its creature monster moments. So yeah, if you're after anything like that, which I certainly am, it's right up your, it would be right up your street. And then we've got a 50s sci-fi classic from Hammer. So this is their first horror film, and it's from 1956. X the Unknown. So this is actually quite violent for the time. You actually see people melting. You've got really rather quite vivid radiation burns, and it's basically about radioactive mud. But it does predate the Blob by 2 years. So yeah, despite somewhat looking similar to that in terms of the effects, even though it is in black and white, this is actually well before that film came out. So yeah, quite innovative in that regard. And yeah, basically it's only called X the Unknown because they were trying to take advantage of the X rating that had come into the UK at the time, which basically was the highest rating that a film could get on release. So yeah, pretty fun sci-fi horror from the 50s, to be honest. Nothing perfect, but still pretty fun. And then we have another couple of creature features from the 50s, I believe. Yeah, were these 50s? Yeah, 57 and 58. So we'll go for the 57 one first. And it is the Black Scorpion. So yeah, this is part of Warner Brothers Archive collection. This has yet to be released over here in the UK, so I did obviously pay a bit of a steep price for it. But I love my 50s, creature feature films, and yeah, this is one of the better ones, especially since it's one of the few stop motion ones that wasn't done by Ray Harryhausen, and that's because it was done by Willis O'Brien, who worked on the original King Kong, which influenced Ray Harryhausen to actually get into stop motion animation. So yeah, it's pretty good. And we've got a couple of extras on here as well. We've got stop motion masters with Ray Harryhausen, footage of the Las Vegas monster and Beetleman, and Harryhausen animated dinosaur sequence from Irwin Allen's 1956 film The Animal World. So yeah, it's really good special features on this. Also uses a spider, I think, that comes out the ground. That was initially supposed to be used on the original King Kong, but actually gets used in this instead. So yeah, it's a really really fun effort. And then another film that I think has is more miniature based. Oh no, it's stop motion again, also from Willis O'Brien, and it is The Giant Behemoth. So this is directed by Eugene Laurie, who also did The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, which had stop motion animation from it in it from Ray Harryhausen. So again, another link to the great animator that he was. And yeah, it's again another fun creature feature. I'd say Black Scorpion is slightly better, but yeah, as far as British set monster movies go, this is probably the best of the bunch. Over the likes of Conga and what was the other one? Oh, got it on 4K somewhere. Gorgo, that's it. I'd say yeah, this is probably the better one because stop motion animation does take a lot more effort than what Gorgo had, which was obviously just miniatures. But still, both of those are still pretty good. I'd really like to see this get a 4K release like Gorgo has. Same with Black Scorpion, to be honest. But still, they say nice to just have it on Blu-ray, to be honest. And one thing I have noticed between these American Warner Brother Archive Collection releases and the UK ones is that these actually have the discs printed. They're not just blue like they are with the ones that come from over here. I don't have one to hand at the moment to show you, but if you've seen any of my reviews on those ones, you'll know what I mean. And also the Blu-ray case is also whole on these. They're not lightened for you know cheaper production costs. So yeah, that is quite noticeable, and I don't know why because it can't be any more difficult to print discs over here as it is over in the US. So yeah, that's kind of baffling to be honest. Right, so swiftly moving on to the 88 films releases that I've got. So we're kind of gonna swift through these because we've still got several more films to look after, even these ones. And yeah, first of which is Human Lanterns. So what I'm getting from this is a kind of like Encounters of the Spooky kind, or Mr. Vampire kind of looking kind of thing, where it's mixing like kung fu and horror. But I might well be off on that just because I haven't seen it yet. But still, looks pretty fun on the whole, to be honest. And then we also have another one that I've not seen yet. Uh, yeah, Miracles. I just had to remind myself whether or not I've seen it or not. I'm watching so many films lately that some of them do merge together. Yeah, so this is Jackie Chan. So yeah, expecting plenty of good action, but it is weirdly only a PG. So maybe it's a bit lighter on action than his other ones from the 80s. Then we also have another Jackie Chan one. This one I have seen. It's called Heart of Dragon. Not as offensively bad as I expected, given one of the characters is mentally disabled, but still, when it hits with the action, it hits really well, quite hard, and yeah, it does actually go for more dramatic elements rather than comedy, which somewhat saves it, quite frankly, because if it had tried to go for comedy, it would have been even worse, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, then we also have Come Drink with Me. Also seen this, it's really rather fun to see a female lead be the action lead as well. So yeah, that really helped set it apart from other similar efforts from the time, especially since this was from 1966. So yeah, in the same era, the way you got your big male action stars like James Bond and oh, whoever else was a big action star in the 60s, basically. But yeah, still to have a female lead role action star while still being really rather capable as an action star themselves is really rather fun. And then we've got a few limited edition releases as well. We've got Stephen Chow in Forbidden City Cop. Yet to see this one, but it's really nice to see that even on sale that these ones have the limited edition slipcovers and extras on the inside as well, still going. So yeah, we actually have art cards and a poster to go alongside with it, which, considering this was released in 2021, is kind of surprising that these limited edition versions are still knocking around. So yeah, HMV had a 2 for 15 sale on, and that's where I picked up these ones. So yeah, it was surprising to see them. So see a couple with the limited edition slip covers and posters or art cards. So yeah, it's got a really nice one-sided poster to it. Landscape. Really like the look of that. Probably put that up at some point if I like the film enough. That is. And then we get a few art cards as well. I think these are, yeah, one's a poster and the rest are from the film. Also got all of that on the back of each one. Oh no, it's different images on each. Yeah, different images on the back of each one as well. Again, that's just more unnecessary effort, but it's welcome effort regardless. And the front, and the back again, and then the front on that. I was just reading what was on the back of it. I didn't realise it would say special thanks to certain people. And then we've also got another limited edition that has come out a while ago, yeah, 2022, and it is Marshall Club. Again, somehow still got the limited edition slipcover and extras inside. So yeah, we've got a booklet and a poster with this one, as opposed to art cards and the poster in the previous release we just looked at. So yeah, the booklet. Again, not seen this one yet, so I can't comment on it. But inside we've got From Martial Club to Instructors of Death by Barry Forshaw. And then I think that's it actually. Got a bunch of shots from the film though inside, such as the following. That's cool. And then we've got the poster as well, which is double-sided on this release as opposed to the other one, which was only on the one side. So yeah, that's the original poster there. And then the new artwork that was on the slipcover. Again, I like the look of that. And I'll put that up probably if I like the film enough. So probably the best of those two will get the poster up. And then finally from 88 Films, this is actually a somewhat newer release. I think it's from this year or last year. Uh, can't quite tell. They don't tell me on the back of this one. But still, it is Taxi Hunter. So yeah, again, yet to see this one. I've bought a lot that I've yet to see, which kind of bumped up my amount of films that I've not seen that I own. But still, this looks like a really rather fun Hong Kong action film. Even though it's actually lower rated than I anticipated given the subject matter, but still, nice slipcover, new artwork, and yeah, printed disc, as well as a poster as well with the new artwork on it, and the original artwork on the other side as well. But I really like that new artwork. That original artwork even kind of reminds me of Falling Down, which came out the same year as this. So in terms of its, you know, lead holding a gun or a weapon of some sort at the very least, and then got the new artwork on the other side. And then we've also got 4 films from the Criterion Collection. Like I said, they had a sale on, and I couldn't really resist. So yeah, firstly we have Summertime. So this is an excellent effort. This is my favourite of the kind of foreign set films that has an American or going over there. You think of Roman Holiday, which came out 2 years before this. I actually prefer this to that film, especially since it makes the most of its setting due to it being in colour, whereas Roman Holiday was not. Now, granted, Roman Holiday did have the more well-known cast, so that's probably where they spent the money on, because apparently it would have been too expensive to film in colour on location. But obviously, with this only having one star that I know of in the form of Katharine Hepburn, um, that obviously limited the amount of production budget they had to spend on the cast. So yeah, it's also got a nice fold-out booklet that usually comes with these Criterion releases. So, and then a write-up on the front called "Loneliness and Independence" by Stephanie Zacharek. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm sure that's a fun read. Not sure if I've got this in a sale. No, I didn't. I actually got this on eBay, so it's another American release, but it's purely because this Criterion release has yet to be released in the UK, and it is The Asphalt Jungle. So I'm a big fan of film noir, and this from John Huston is excellent, and I highly, highly recommend it, especially if you are into your film noir. And yeah, acid unprinted disc, and again a booklet on the inside. This has A Left-Handed Form of Human Endeavour by Jeffrey O'Brien. Really long right up, as you can see. And then we've got acknowledgements, special thanks, production credits, about the transfer, and then casting credits in there as well. So yeah, all nicely done as per usual from Criterion, although not on the cheap side of things by any means. And then finally, we have another couple of romantic films from the 1930s, so slightly earlier than Summertime, which was 1955. First of which stars Irene Dunne and Charles Boyer, and it is a love affair. So this is actually a pretty good film, to be honest. I recently watched it, really rather impressed by it overall. And yeah, fantastic transfer going on. And yeah, really nice printed disc. And again, a nice booklet to go alongside with it. Yeah, there's the two of them, Irene Dunne and Charles Boyer. And it opens up. So yeah, it's got a write-up by Megan McGurk called "The Nearest Thing to Heaven," which is a reference to a line in the film where they plan to meet up on the 103rd floor of the Empire State Building, because apparently that is the nearest place to heaven, which it probably was in the 1930s, given the tallest building in the world at that point. Sorry, my camera's shaking. My cat decided to go up and wander around. But then finally from Criterion, we have... Stop shaking. We have starring Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert. It Happened One Night. So yeah, again, heard really rather impressive things from this. So yeah, and I've still yet to get into a lot of Frank Capra films, so definitely going to endeavour to do so at some point. Especially since I think I own Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, which I believe he did as well. Which I've also yet to see. So yeah, again, booklet. Was that upside down? No, looked like it was upside down when I opened it up. Yeah, that's a bit weird. The oh, it's because it's more like a poster than anything else. It sort of is, which is cool. And then on the back we have "All Aboard" by Farron Smith Neames, because the first part of this takes place on a transatlantic ocean liner as when our two leads meet. And finally, we have a couple of 4K um, steelbooks, one of which has been slightly dented on the slight side, but that's the price you pay for steelbooks. But these were both cheap, so I imagine they've been lingering around in the warehouse at Savage for a while. But the first of which is Cool Hand Luke, starring Paul Newman, and really, really great prison drama. Highly, highly recommend it if you've not seen it already. And yeah, we've got the Blu-ray and the 4K on the inside. Just spinning them around. So yeah, I don't know if you can see the slight damage that has happened on it. It's not massive dent by any means, but it's just above the C on cool. Don't know if you can see that at all, but it's all right. And then finally, for only a mere $4.99, it is the rather underrated film I find because it's my second favorite of the four in the series. The Matrix Resurrections. I know a lot of people hate this film. To be honest, I've not seen it since it came out, but I do remember really enjoying it on my first watch at the cinema, and yeah, I'm looking forward to finally getting around to seeing it again now that I own it. So yeah, not the best looking 4K steelbook release, but considering to buy this on 4K on its in a standard release would be more than £5. Yeah, it was well worth getting, to be honest. So yeah, and at the end of the day, you get it on Blu-ray as well, and you get a really nice image of the cat in the film. So yeah, it's not a perfect film by any means, I imagine, in the eyes of some people, but as far as I'm concerned, I really rather enjoyed it and found it to be the second best in the series. So yeah, that's everything there. A huge, huge update. I think you'll find. Yeah, four 4Ks there, and a bunch of films from 88 Films, Criterion Collection, and other labels as well as from America, which were costly, but I really, really just wanted to own them, especially in regards to the, like the 50 sci-fi horror films, which I'm really into, and I just want as many of them as possible. So, yeah, if I'm a completionist in any regard when it comes to my collection, it's in regards to those kind of films from that decade. But nonetheless, thank you for watching. If you've seen any of these films before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on them, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.